Hey everybody, I'm Matt Weaver, Executive Chef of the Campbell Club here in downtown Owensboro. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen on Hometown TV. Today we're going to make one of our specials that we're doing this week. It's a pan-seared, cast-iron seared ribeye over andouille sausage, mushroom sauce with fresh grilled grits. This ribeye is from Wadlington Sons on Beach Road. You see that beautiful marbling. It's a grain-fed ribeye, tons of flavor. It's extra meaty, very tender. Just gonna hit it with some kosher salt, some fresh black pepper, and our steak rub that we make here in house. I like to season steaks really well because it just brings out the flavor really well. Makes it nice and salty, nothing crazy. All right, there we go. So you can see, got my cast iron skillet over here, very hot. Be careful if you're doing this in the house because it will get smoky. Clarified butter I'm going to start with, straight in the pan. You hear that sizzle. That's all the sugars on the outside of that steak caramelizing, turning delicious. Now, most of the time you have a steak, it's cooked on a grill, and while those are excellent, I love cooking steaks in a cast iron skillet because you get full surface contact from the steak to the pan, and so you get caramelization on the entire outside of the pan. It makes it nice and crusty, and you can't replicate that on a grill very well. Now, in this next pan here, a little more butter, we're going to make our andouille and mushroom sauce. I'm going to start off with some andouille sausage that we roast here in house. Add that to the butter. What it's going to do is it's going to render out all the spices and the flavor from the sausage into that butter, and then that's going to infuse in the rest of the dish. And we're back. I'm going to add some quartered mushrooms to the pan. I like quartered mushrooms as opposed to slicing them just because they're, bigger flavor. Basically, mushrooms are like sponges, so anytime you add them to a sauce, they're going to soak everything up. So if you slice them away, you're kind of missing out on one of the great things that mushrooms actually do, which is absorb everything. So you see, we've got some great color on the sausage here, which means a lot of that flavor has come out and is now in the clarified butter. Add the mushrooms to it. They're going to start right off the bat soaking up a lot of that awesomeness. Diced onions in there as well. Let that go for just a little bit, just to get some brown on the outside of the mushrooms. And I'll add some garlic to it, white wine, and chicken stock. Now, we're going to serve this with grilled grits. So I've got the grits on a flat top over here already. This is a side item we do a lot down here. Basically, I make an order of grits, make a whole batch of grits and put it inside of a pan and let it sit and walk in overnight. And the grits soak up all the moisture and they solidify. They still stay nice and creamy once you heat them up, but they hold their shape really well. So next Sunday when you're making breakfast, make a little extra grits and throw them in a pan. All right, go ahead and flip our ribeye. You can see all that color that's on the outside there, which is directly from cast iron skillet. Now, I'm going to add a couple of garlic cloves to this, some fresh thyme, and a little bit of unsalted butter. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come back and baste the butter and the thyme, baste it over the ribeye. This is going to help caramelize it even more. The thyme and the garlic is going to fuse into the butter, and the steak is just going to soak all that up. Add a little bit more here. Now there's a lot of fat in this pan, but I'm going to pull it off and I'm going to let it rest. A lot of that's all going to drain off. And it's so hot that it's boiling and bubbling on the outside, but the steak isn't soaking it up. It's just browning it on the outside. You'll see the garlic is going to start to brown, and that's the color, that flavor, roasted garlic flavor right there on the steak. Right. Let that sit for just another minute or so. Going to go for about medium rare on that. Alright, so you've got some color on the mushrooms, got some color on the onions. Go ahead and add a little bit of garlic to this. Runaway mushroom. Careful, that's hot. Alright, garlic doesn't take very long. Add some wine. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this steak off. Let it sit for just a second. Scrape all this off. I'll let it sit in the cast iron skillet for just another minute. One of the great things about cast iron is it holds the heat really well. So it's still cooking even though I turned the heat off of it. Wine, chicken stock here. Just want this to simmer so the flavor from the sausage is just going to sit there and infuse with everything in the pan. Bring that all the way up. Pull my steak out, let it rest. You always want to let steaks and large proteins rest before you slice into them, because all the juices are really active inside and they're running and bouncing everywhere. So if you go and slice it right now, all the juices run out all over the cutting board. But if you let it sit and soak up for a little bit, the meat will reabsorb those juices and it'll stay in the steak, which is what keeps it juicy. A little salt and pepper into that. Just going to let it reduce. Go ahead and take my grits off of the grill here. Put them right in the middle of the pan, plate that is. I'm going to add my sausage and my mushrooms to it. I'm going to put the sauce on the bottom of the plate and put my steak right on top. So when you cut down through the steak, you're going to get a bite of everything in one spoonful. All right. I'm going to leave a lot of the broth in the pan because the grits will absorb that. The steak will absorb it. Add some scallion to it. Just slice it. Alright. And that's it. This is the kind of dish you want to have a piece of bread or something on the side with. This is going to be really juicy. It's great smoky flavor from the sausage. It's got a little bit of heat on it. Not terrible. Not going to burn you up. Alright, put that juice right on the plate. For our steak. Okay. Instead, you can see both sides, that brown, that's that caramelization directly from the cast iron skillet. That's an awesome crust. Right, there you go. It's our cast iron seared ribeye, grilled grits, andouille and mushrooms. I'm Matt Weaver, executive chef of the Campbell Club. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. Come down, we're doing a 2-month free trial membership. Let me cook for you. Thanks.